Every little thing gonna be all right. Hello and good evening for all mankind. Season 2, episode 1. Every little thing is over. But we're just getting started here on Live Long and Podcast as we continue our mission to watch every episode of For All Mankind and talk all about it. And we're kicking off season 2 tonight. I'm Dave Mader. We're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, audio versions, and elsewhere. We got a great team here, a great crew to break it down all once again. Coming to us from the cosmos, it's Jody Simpson.
Hello, Dave. Everything's going to be all right.
Every little thing's going to be all right. Unless there's a solar storm, but we're going to get into it.
That's the only problem,
Yeah. Well, coming in next, he's got a party like it's 1983. It's Kevin Millard.
I certainly am, Dave. I certainly am.
Yes. Well, it's a very good year, Kevin. I got to tell you. Coming to us next from a beautiful patio somewhere in the heart of Ottawa, it's Adam Woodward, and he's muted, but it's
yeah. I'm here.
He's here.
And I just said everything is going to be all right.
Everything little things gonna be all right. Like, don't worry about.
You just ignore the tweets of the world.
Ignore the tweets. Ignore the news. We'll all be good. Let's stay in this alternate reality.
There was no tweet.
There was no tweet, exactly.
It was Truth Social. Who listens to that anyway?
Yeah. Well, coming in next, it's the guy who, binged all of season 2, 3, and 4 over the weekend. It's Jeff Mader.
Yes, I'm all caught up, so I know the future of the alternate.
You know the alternate future, as do Heather and I. The other three.
Don't break it down for us.
We won't be breaking it down. He's
joined. I will be seeing things from a different light, though.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, with us once again, here she is, Heather Narduzzi. Hello, Heather.
Hello, all. Back in New Brunswick. Had a wonderful vacation. Very excited to get into season 2. This is a great season. I won't say anything further than that. Looking forward to talking about it with all of you.
Yes, it is a great season. We have jumped ahead to the 1980s, everybody, here in 1983, and we're going to be breaking that down. Everything we got a huge information dump in between, like the seasons are at the very top of this episode. Everything that since we left off the very end of 1974 / the early part of 1975, and then pick up in May of 1983 with this story and everything, all the characters in between. But before we jump into all those big details, how do we feel about this as just an opener to the season and an episode overall? How about you, Jody?
I liked it. I thought it was a good way to start a season. It definitely drew me to the next episode, and I tried to avoid it as much as I could. So, but like it was a good way to kind of get you energized for the next decade, like the next part of this this show. So I liked it.
Jody, do you have a cat to hold up?
I do not have a cat. What do I have to hold up though? I have a Darmok. How about that?
Okay. Darmok and the cat at Chanagra, something like that.
Indeed.
Okay.
Then the walls fell, Dave.
And the walls fell. Of course they did.
Yep.
Kevin, how was this for you, the premiere?
I know that they have to set things up, but this was really boring.
Really? I liked it.
This is slow. Like, what happened?
The solar storm?
A solar storm?
Yeah.
People could have died.
Yeah.
Great.
Radiation?
It just nothing.
Margot got ready for work?
People will potentially
It was
die.
nice to see that she still sleeps in her office, even though she's the boss.
Right. That's how she stays the boss. I'm trying to think other exciting things that happened in the episode.
See, this is the problem with this show, because every time I come on this damn podcast, I try to be positive because everybody tells me I'm always negative. I try to be positive, and then Kevin shows up.
Well, he wants to be the new negative guy. So
And then by the end of the episode, I'm like, you know what? Kevin's right. This was fucking boring. Why did I think this was good?
I like the human drama. I like the moral decisions that they have to make. And there's none of that in this episode. This is all just there's a storm.
Kevin, no.
Yes.
Ed Baldwin practiced his putting stroke, and that was very important.
He did pretty
him
good at
messing
it,
with
too.
astronaut candidates, I suppose.
Yeah. But I understand they've got to set it up, but this was a slow start for me.
Right. And
Gordo got drunk at Rotary clubs, and
Gordo's going to the Little Rock Rotary Club to give a speech.
I love Gordo's new look, his 80s look.
He's really
all
leaning into it. Yeah, Tracy, of course, a big celebrity. Now we're gonna get into all that. Want to get over to Adam. Adam, was it exciting? Was it boring? How was this for you?
I'm with Kevin. It was a slow start until about 40 minutes in. And once they got the storm coming, then I felt my anxiety building a little bit, honestly, but what was going to go on and who's going to live and who's going to die. But yeah, slow.
Okay. Well, geez, it's hard ones to win over here. Okay, Jeff.
this is a good episode because it sets up the whole season in a good way. But the thing is with this show is they do things where they're like, we need to give this person this thing. So in this episode, they're like, Karen, you get the outpost. That's going to be your thing. You know, they do that with certain characters, and I kind of go like, what is this? Why are they doing this? What is going on? Like, is this actually how this would have occurred? Like, you know, it's like sometimes I'm just like, okay, maybe not. You know.
Okay. All right.
And
Heather.
none of the outposts, Kevin, or sorry, Jeff, she got a daughter too.
Oh, right. And no, you know, they lost a kid, so let's give them another kid. You know, like there's a few things they do where I'm just like, this okay, like I get it, but like again, you're also skipping like multiple years of time, and like you're losing all this character building stuff, and you're just trying to catch the audience up really quickly of like all this stuff that's occurred, and it's just like, well, why didn't we just like continue the story? You know, why are you jumping ahead?
Heather, do you have a response to Jeff's question? What?
I think Jeff's just upset because where's Aleda? We didn't even see her.
She wasn't even in this, you know? What's she been up
She
to for
wasn't even
years?
in this episode.
I want to
liked
know.
it.
I want to know what happened with her dad. You know, and the FBI, she doesn't like them.
No.
You know, so yeah, and Margot, she doesn't like her. So like, we need some resolutions. That's what we need.
Hi, Sam. Adam's in the bottom right-hand corner.
Yes.
Yeah, he's like literally there.
Oh, and happy nothing to me, Sam.
Are
I'll
you
have
a
you know
father,
I'm
Heather?
a father of 3 cats. I'm a hardworking single father of 3 cats. And look at this one. He needs fathering.
Yes, he does. Right.
I really liked this episode, and it wasn't my favorite of all of them. It wasn't the most exciting, but I liked that we got to see all where the characters were after the time jump, except Aleda. Thank you, Sam. That's much better. Thank you. And we got to see some of the new folks who I don't really care about. Maybe we will care about them in the future. And we got to see Ed and Karen's new child and sprinkle
Yes.
cheese, which as an Italian, I'm personally offended by. So that was that deduct
I
at least
love
2 points
sprinkle
from the
cheese,
episode
just
for
so you
me.
know.
You
Spaghetti
would,
man.
Jody.
I love it. I really do.
Ed Baldwin.
I hate fresh Parmesan, but anyway.
It doesn't melt right, according to Ed Baldwin.
Yeah, I don't know about that part though. That's stupid.
Yeah, that was the grossest looking spaghetti I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
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 It's not their main.
It was
thing at
not
the moment.
good. I think
It's how they do it
Karen's
in
probably
Texas,
busy
Kevin.
with the Outpost, and Ed only knows how to eat Tang and things out of
It
packets.
was a bit of a spaghetti western, but you know we're gonna.
I get
jump
the
into
feeling Joel Kinnaman is like a bodybuilding freak, and he's like, I don't want real pasta. You got to make this cauliflower. That's why it looked bad, you know.
Could be.
Ooh.
I could buy that. All right, let's jump into this episode. So nearly a decade later, technology and lunar exploration have taken huge strides, but a solar storm threatens the astronauts on Jamestown, which we'll see has grown considerably. This overall is the 11th episode of For All Mankind, and was written by Ronald D. Moore and directed by Michael Morris. So let's jump in and see what we saw. So I think we might just spend quite a few minutes here just talking about everything we saw in this opening minutes, the information dump we get here in terms of everything that's happened in between. And
This was too quick.
Well, we
You
can go
said
through
why.
it slowly, Adam.
Yeah.
So we have that benefit here. Where's Aleda? Unclear.
Where's Aleda? I need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Aleda
she's not mentioned here.
1983.
We get this speech here from Ronald Reagan to start off the episode. I think it's a real speech that is possibly from when he was elected. In our
A new
timeline.
beginning was definitely his slogan. So this is probably real footage and a real speech, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, in this timeline, he's getting elected in 1976 instead of in 1980. So it's he becomes president 4 years earlier. He's giving a speech here about the making America, going back to like the nostalgia of the olden times, and rejecting sort of these other visions of America that have been presented in the years, maybe to alluding to the Ted Kennedy administration or whatnot. As he is elected, in 1976, not defeating Ted Kennedy, who I guess didn't get the nomination for the Democratic Party. It was some other senator they mention here. I don't know if we who did, I don't know. I don't have that in front of me, but he gets elected in 1976. We kind of see what happens in those 4 years. The Russians are continuing to build more of their rockets, continuing to go to the moon. Some of it's shown to us in like headlines, other things in audio as we're kind of going through this montage. The Kremlin here accused of repeated violations of the space agreement. So the space race between the Soviet Union and the USA very much in full force as they're continuing to build their respective bases on the moon. The U.S. here to scrap space treaty, it says. So, they're kind of throwing out a lot of the rules that maybe were established earlier on. In particular, I think probably because that wasn't the space treaty about how the moon and other stellar objects don't belong to any one nation and they belong to the people of Earth. Maybe that's a reason. Maybe they're kind of throwing that away because
they could easily take the moon back. All they have to do is like build a rocket launcher and then end up there with a knife or something and call it a day. Like,
yeah. Well, Ed knows
like
how
that
to
would solve it. What
he's
are they
in
going to
charge.
do? Try to land again? There's a missile there pointing at them.
Exactly. Reagan, sworn in as the 39th president, vows peace through strength. Peace through strength. In a
Oh, that sounds familiar.
He sure does.
Yeah. Of course, 1976 was the bicentennial year as well of the United States. The 200th anniversary since the American Revolution. So we see some of that here. We always see that NASA's putting rovers on Mars in the 1970s instead of, I guess, in our timeline it was like not till the 90s that this happened. So it's moving a much further along. Alas, Elvis Presley still dies in 1977. Everybody,
Exact same day.
exact same day. That could not be changed. That was
Hey.
that was
I'm
It's
telling you
inevitably
right now.
going to happen. The peanut butter and chicken and and banana sandwiches were going to catch up to him.
Deep
eventually.
fried.
You're gonna get him no
and
matter
you
what.
know who's not dead in this timeline? Sinatra.
And John Lennon.
And John Lennon, which is kind of
Uh-huh.
we're skipping here to 1978. Israel and Egypt failed to reach agreement at Camp David. For
That's different.
Par for the course.
Didn't the war kick off around that time between those two? Israel and
No, there was an
Egypt?
agreement signed between. This is a big deal.
Oh, wasn't it like this Jimmy Carter? That
Yeah,
Yes,
Jimmy
it was
Carter
not
made that
about-
happen.
Menachem Begin
Yes.
and I can't remember the Israeli guy who signed it, but yes.
Well, in this timeline, I guess they failed to reach that agreement. So Jimmy Carter not being president is consequential here. What else? Hostilities rise. Webster, still a thing.
That's
That is not Webster.
That's not
different
Webster.
strokes.
Who is it?
It's Gary Coleman,
Gary Coleman. Yeah.
Gary Coleman.
Not
Yes.
Oldman. That's a different guy.
not Oldman.
What you talking
Gary-
about, Willis?
Yeah, he
Willis.
was.
I guess-
Was that Good Times?
No,
No,
that
Different
was
strokes.
Different strokes.
What is wrong with you people?
I've never. I,
You're old, is what is wrong.
I'm young, so I
Damn,
don't
our
know.
dog.
Who is this? What's the name of this character then?
Arnold.
Arnold.
Yeah.
Okay.
His
Well, he
brother
was there.
Willis.
What are you talking about, Willis? Okay.
What you talking about,
Uh,
Willis? That was the.
I'm okay. Sorry for misidentifying Willis or Arnold. Soviets to withdraw from Afghan border here, 1979. So
no invasion. No invasion.
Yeah,
That's
no
it.
invasion. I guess no boycott of the Olympics in '80, presumably. It says here the
But
Soviets.
do the
expand-
Americans still fund them during this time period, do you think?
Who, the Afghans? The Afghanis?
Yeah.
Why?
Because of the.
I
yeah,
guess they
think
wouldn't
would
need
st-
to.
Nah, Reagan would. It's Reagan.
Reagan probably would have still done that.
Well, they wouldn't
Okay.
need to arm them.
Houston Sentinel has the dawn of the personal computer. The space age can be yours. Latest photos from the red planet. Solar energy boom drives innovation. How the tax cut affects you. We got the Apple computer chairman Steve Jobs here on the cover of this Houston Sentinel, and then we also get this. The 19.
That's Superman.
That's Superman here.
That's not Steve Jobs.
That's Webster.
No.
So
It says this one.
I
has
think
Steve
what
Jobs.
they're doing here is putting headlines over photos because that's the same headline and cover, but it's two different photos. And if you look at the previous one, those people are not Apple computer chairman Steve Jobs. I'm pretty sure that's Public Enemy.
Yeah.
But
I
neither
think
is
that's Run DMC.
Superman's also
Run
not Steve
DMC.
Jobs.
Yeah.
Right?
Close though.
Right.
I mean, that does look like Steve Jobs.
More so than those other guys.
That's what he looked like.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs didn't
that
look
was
like
the-
Superman.
Another
That
thing
was
that's
the year
mentioned,
that movie came out.
Yeah.
79.
I see.
The other thing that's mentioned here is the 3 Mile Island disaster did not happen, partly because of the innovations around nuclear technology that were developed for the space base. So there's less fear around.
Yeah, because they
nuclear-
already had reactors at that point that were on the moon, so
Mhm.
kind of makes sense. Yeah.
And also, they talk about the Iran hostage crisis here. That it was over after 92 days. They rescued most of the hostages, but some were killed in the process. This is not quite what happened either, right? In our
What
No,
really
Ben
happened?
Affleck was there normally.
Oh.
Oh no, that was Argo. Yeah.
Argo, F yourself.
In this timeline, it was probably Matt Damon.
It was probably Matt Damon instead of Ben Affleck. Yeah.
Matt
Damon.
Yeah, and in our reality, it went 444 days.
Oh.
400.
That's
so
much longer.
shorter. So Reagan just sent troops in. Like he was like, no, go in and get them. Apparently Poland imposes martial law is another headline we get here. I'm not
But that's the Ayatollah there. That's
sure. That's the
interesting.
Ayatollah.
Yeah, totally different picture.
Mount
Well,
St.
remember,
Helens.
Poland would still be part of the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Right, because it would still be under the Warsaw Pact. I don't know why they show us Mount St. Helens. I can't remember.
Mount St.
that.
Helens happened in 1984, so that's a weird one too.
What happened?
It exploded.
Exploded.
It blew up.
Like an eruption?
Well, it's
The
a
volcano.
You know about Man St. Helens?
I wasn't around.
That's worse than Different Strokes.
Okay.
It was a big deal.
How do you know a different strokes?
We had ash falling in Burlington, Dave.
Wow.
Wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
They talk about the strategic defense
I
initiative
remember it.
or the Star
Yeah.
Wars here. We also see that in the montage. The Miracle on Ice, the Soviet Union USA 1980 Olympic game.
Crushed them.
Russia wins. And
Yeah.
but this wouldn't have been like a huge story because the Russians were supposed to win this, and the fact that the Americans upset them was a huge deal. But
That was the story.
dig. Some Canadian writer on the show was like, "Let's just put a dig in, and there's no Miracle on Ice. We're taking that away from you."
that's God. The Soviets win.
You don't get that.
Yeah,
I was wrong on the date. The date did explode in 1880.
yeah.
They lost 10-3 too.
They lost 10-3.
Wow.
Right.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It's like a,
We also
That's like Leafs numbers, man. That ain't right.
we got Ronald Reagan with Michael Jackson here. I'm not sure.
This actually did happen, though. This screenshot is from something that did happen because he was doing some sort of literacy through music or something thing.
right.
So I think that's probably what that's from.
It's just like Trump and Kid Rock, same thing.
the Who Shot JR thing was still a thing we can see here. And then John Lennon.
To this day, I still don't know who.
Yeah, I don't know either. It was a dream. John
Maggie
Lennon.
Simpson.
John Lennon
Oh,
lives from his
that makes
assassination attempt. The bullets missed.
Yeah,
So-
what they forget to tell you is that he would probably suck by this point.
No, he could have done great things
Yeah.
still. But,
I'm not sure.
But the Pope, John Paul II, did die in his assassination attempt. In this timeline, so they would have had to pick a new Pope sooner than they did.
I wonder if they got a young pope after that.
Could have been.
Are we sure this is a bad timeline? Or is this the good timeline?
This might be the better timeline.
I'm uncertain at this point.
All right, we get into 1981. I think they mentioned that Reagan's been reelected. He beats somebody else. Sadat
Yeah, he does the
recovering-
second term then. Yeah.
Sadat recovering after assassination attempt. Did Sadat
Anwar
die?
Sadat really was assassinated, though, in our timeline, right?
All these people are living from their assassination attempts. Okay.
Except for
we
the Pope.
Except for the Pope.
Not the Pope.
The Russians are going full Soviet here. We see some of their rhetoric. O'Connor.
sorry,
takes
go
first-
back.
You got it.
So Reagan fires striking air controllers. That happened.
Okay,
Yep.
that did happen. Right. O'Connor takes first seat as first female Supreme Court justice. That also happened in our timeline. This
Tootsie.
Tootsie.
Tootsie. Is that what this is? Okay, a Bonanza year at the bottom. I didn't know what movie this was supposed to be from. And then
You know who that is?
No, who is it?
It's Dustin Hoffman, Dave.
I thought they looked familiar. I was like,
Dustin Hoffman and drag. That's what
Dustin-
Tootsie was.
okay, no, I didn't know. I was like, this woman seems very like.
It's a good movie, Dave. You should watch it.
Okay, I was just because I didn't know it was Dustin Hoffman.
Ask your lady there. I bet you she's seen it.
She probably has. Okay, the royal wedding, everybody. In this timeline, Prince Charles didn't marry Diana. He just married Camilla from the beginning.
Oh,
Good.
Which should
I
have
hope
happened.
Princess Diana is doing something lovely and
yeah, and
great
she's
for
probably
herself
still alive
in this timeline.
in our timeline.
Teaching
Exactly.
kindergarten.
That means Prince William and Prince Harry are never born.
Well,
Eh.
maybe Prince Harry.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe Prince Harry. Okay. And NASA
But
prepares
not
for
a
launch.
prince.
They also mentioned the space shuttle here. That it is named the Enterprise after Star Trek, just as it was in the original timeline. So they did this.
Well, thank God. We can stop right now. That's okay.
Yeah, they still did it. We still got the 4th of July, 1983. I guess is when that was supposed to be, but that would have been after May. Anyway, Reagan here, more Soviets. They're on the prowl. They're going. The Soviet Union does not break up in the same year, at least, as in our timeline. So
Didn't this look like what happened in Washington on Saturday? This little.
No, this looks way better.
way more impressive, really.
They look proud of their stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't put any tanks on the street that would have ground it up either.
Yeah.
Right. And then I love this transition here as we go from the montage. We get this speech here from Reagan, which I think it's like a Reagan impersonator about how they're going to bring freedom to our shining beacon of a hill, our city on the hill up on the moon. And we kind of do this zoom into Jamestown here on the moon that has really grown since we last saw it at the end of season 1. It's not just the one room anymore. They've added more modules and habitats, and it's a much bigger base than it had been, as it's kind of encapsulated in darkness here. Really love the music.
That was a really
too.
cool shot. And those type of zoom in shots from very far away, of course, always make me think of First Contact and the shot going out into Picard's eye.
There's also, I'll show you when we get to that part, but when they kind of zoom in from the moon and later on they go into the space lab there that's in orbit, it really reminded me of like Battlestar Galactica and how they like to do those.
They used to do that all the time. I love those.
Yeah. And this is, of course, episode written by Ronald D. Moore, as mentioned. We catch up here with Ellen Wilson, who is now long been the commander, apparently, of Jamestown since she, relieved Ed at the end of season 1. I presume she's been back to Earth in there, since then. But she's kind of the veteran here, talking to Larry, about a birthday party. She's turning 40, I think, and having like a surprise party. He's like, you're rapidly advancing years or something like that. They have their relationship is interesting to me in some ways. Mm-hmm. It's not romantic, but it's definitely a partnership in a lot of respects. And them talking about, I guess, the next photo op, the next thing, getting in good because Ellen's got other aspirations. So
I like how the base missing patches are actually just year patches now, which is kind of neat.
Because I guess you go up for a year or something.
You go up for a year, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So then she might have been up here for almost 2 years, if that's the case, right? Since she last, went.
Well, the patch she has 81 on it. So.
And now it's 83, right?
And now it's 83. So yeah, maybe she's been up there for 2 years.
Also, okay. I have a question about this because this is going to come up later in this show. Why? Okay, there was, there was the astronaut lady that was stuck in. There was 2 of them that was stuck in space this year because they couldn't bring them back because the Boeing engines failed. So like Elon had to go save them or whatever. Mm-hmm. When they came back, they were in space like way too long, and that affected their literally their body because when you don't have gravity, maybe the moon's different. So
there is some gravity, not as much.
It's 1/6 gravity, right?
Yeah,
on the moon, but that's still gonna affect your body.
Well, that's why they have to exercise every day, right? So that's why they're on treadmills every day and they're using.
But it's more than that. It's like calcium leaches out of your bones apparently when you're in space, for long.
Yeah, there's no way she could actually stay up there for 2 years.
Right.
And if she did, it would completely suck. Yeah.
Yeah,
she would be just
withered.
Gone at this point. Yeah.
That's what happened to that one lady that was in space she was in there up for almost over a year, and that it affected. You could see it.
Well, you got nothing.
Now
left
she was in zero gravity, so it's different. But
you could last a little longer, presumably on the moon, but not indefinitely. It sounds like you're.
It should just be all I'm saying is it should be affecting her, and I know they have experts on these TV shows. And yes, where is Elena?
She's not here, Jeff. She's not here. Her bones.
Can I just say?
Do they have artificial gravity on the station? I don't think so because there's no mention of it or anything.
No, it's just 1/6 gravity, I think.
Oh, you mean on the space station? You mean?
Yes.
No, it's
in real life. No.
No, and Jamestown here in the show.
It'll be
the only way to do that be to spin it, and you.
It has to be spun,
you can do that, but so but the other thing, in this opening, there's no artificial gravity, and sometimes they show us that the effects of that low gravity, and some they showed us last season. We'll see how much of that we get now, but the other thing too was that Ellen's talking to Larry in the opening scene here about how she doesn't need to see it again. She's seen it a million times, the sunrise coming up, and she's gonna have the whole base to herself. So we see. Ellen is one of many astronauts who are now at Jamestown. We see there's also we cut away to Molly and this other Dutch astronaut quite a few times, and then there's this other pack of astronauts. I couldn't help but notice the Canadian on the on the group.
He's in charge of taking pictures.
He's in charge of taking pictures. That's our role.
Whose Pat seems like an afterthought. He's the only one where the
doesn't look very good.
Off.
Also, why is he in the European Space Agency? He should be with the Americans.
Well, I looked
because our timeline, we're going to eventually join the European Union, and then at that point, we're just
Yeah, I
going to
looked
be
this up today
Europe.
because the Canadian Space Agency didn't formally exist till 1989 in our timeline. But Mark Garneau was actually the first to go up into space on the Challenger in 1984. This guy is not Mark Garneau. He's somebody else. But we kind of tacked onto NASA, and we kind of tacked onto the ESA, the European Space Agency, and we still kind of do that. We're not a member of the ESA, and we're not really a member of NASA either. So it's kind of, we're in this kind of weird gray zone. But yeah,
The Dutch guy though is based off a real astronaut who was on Challenger.
oh yeah, that could be the case. Yeah. But this Canadian guy, whoever he's meant to be, he's not Mark Garneau, and or any of our famous Canadian astronauts.
Mark Garneau just passed away too.
Yeah,
recently.
he did. Yeah, just this year. Yeah, and he was the first Canadian in space. But not anymore. Not in this timeline. Now it's that guy, presumably. Molly's here. She's climbing a mountain somewhere on the moon. Everything's darkness. The sun hasn't come up here on Shackleton Crater region. It's the South Pole, of course, of the moon. So it gets dark a lot of the time. I'll try to move us along. I don't know why Molly was climbing this mountain, but
Because she wanted a good view for when the sunrise happened.
Oh, okay. Then we got this guy, the Dutch guy.
That's my theory. I don't know.
Who never stops to look. He's always worried about where the camera is, and Molly's telling him, he's got to enjoy the little things. So now
Let's call him Patch.
We'll call him Patch Adams. Then we see here that Ellen calls out to the astronauts, "Hey, everyone, it's happening. Get ready for the show." Molly tells that Dutch guy to enjoy himself here in a moment.
I love when they all turn off their visors, though.
They all turn off their lights here. We see
Like the
Molly,
lights on the visors.
how dark it is, and she turns off her light, and then the horizon lights up as the sun comes out over here, and all the astronauts really enjoying this as they get bombarded by solar radiation without a magnetic field. So they'll be fine.
That's why they put their visors down.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So
wow, this is bright. My skin is burning. I better put this thing down now.
Right. This one, the first one goes. This American's like, "Oh my God, it's so bright," but the Canadian's like, "Yeah, awesome."
We never see the sun.
We never see the sun. We're so happy. And they're all singing.
Don't worry about a thing.
Every little
was
thing
great.
gonna be all right. Yeah.
Three Little Birds by.
Okay, I have a question. Would all of these people know that song at this time? Was all of these people real big reggae fans in 1981?
83.
It's 83.
No, it's 83.
It was a big
Everyone
song.
knows that
It was a
song.
big song, but it wasn't Bob Marley's biggest song.
This
No.
though gave me vibes of, do you remember at the beginning of COVID when all the stars started singing Imagine?
Yes.
And everybody
Oh,
wanted them
God.
to shut the fuck up forever?
Yes.
That's what this reminded me of.
That might have been the worst part of COVID.
I was
other
angry
than
by
their
this
death.
because I'm like, what the hell does this have to do with the moon? With any of this? I was like, why did they pick this song? When I saw the title for this episode, I'm like, oh, it's Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic. It's gonna be the police. It's gonna then it's this song. And I'm like, the fuck? I'm like,
Well, Jeff, all the music in the '80s sucked. So
this
It
is a 70s song.
No, I
I
like
agree.
this song.
This song
That's
came out in
70s song.
1977. It's not an 80s.
yes, I know, but I'm just saying.
Same year as I was born, guys. Like, come on.
Yeah. Good year.
year.
Well, anyway, they like the song, everyone, and they're all singing along, and it's a nice little moment here. The moon's a happy place. It's luring us into a false sense of security because we know what's coming. Well, we don't actually. Well, we know since we've seen it, but
Do you know what song would have made sense? Like Stairway to Heaven or something like that would have made sense because it had been out for a while. It's
How
about-
long do you think this scene is?
Too long.
can't
Do you
Stairway
think
to
they're
Heaven.
going to sit
tomorrow.
there singing all in unison about a bustle in your hedgerow, bitch? Like, that's
Yes.
not happening. They're going to pick a real easy song and they're all going to sing it. Three chords, three words.
I thought it was
Surprised they
fine.
didn't sing the American national anthem.
Ellen was singing
That was-
along. It was all good, and we zoom out here of Jamestown Base as now it is in the light, and that is our beginning of the episode. to varying degrees of satisfaction from the panel. So
We've only made it to the title card, and
I
we're at
know.
34 minutes.
yeah,
Wow.
okay, let's start. Well, the rest of the episode I think we'll get through quick because there's less.
Yeah,
in terms of
nothing else
turn.
happens really.
Okay, 24 hours earlier. We're going back, everybody. We're going. So get ready. May 20th. We get the sequence here with Margot back in Houston. We see somebody's waking up, and then we see it's Margot. She's got an alarm clock. She's even got her own shower here at NASA. Why would she ever need to leave?
That's how you can tell she's a
this was
big
interesting
shot.
because this was, though, if you go back to season 1, episode 1, this is how it started then.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're paying that. She's moved up in the world, but she still does her own things. She got a new hairdo this season. She still likes to brush her teeth while she does calculations in the morning and try to other math things.
I mean, does she do calculations or does she circle and write a question mark with her toothbrush pencil?
Well,
My
It's a
biggest
word
problem
search.
is, where does she store all of her dirty laundry? Like, she only has that office.
In a filing cabinet, Jody.
She's in charge. Somebody takes that.
someone
and does
takes it.
for
She
her.
tells them to
Oh,
take it to
okay.
the laundromat. She's in
Some
the
NASA
closet.
intern is like, all right, going to pick up old lady Madison's laundry. Wish me luck.
So,
Yeah, because
Heather,
All of it is
Heather,
is toothpaste stains all down the front.
I've got a question for Heather. What do you think of the 80s Bob?
It's very Catherine Janeway after they decided that big pompadour poof was nonsense.
Pompadour poof.
Yes.
I love it.
Janeway.
And also, my mom had this hairdo, and every woman in the 80s had this hairdo at least one point.
if it was even
And
bigger,
I think it looks good on her. It's cute.
Every woman who ever watched X-Files wanted this hairdo as well. So
it's kind of a Dana
Mhm,
Scully.
mhm.
Can I say her
Yeah.
belt is way too high?
that
Yes,
belt
it is.
far too high.
It's too high.
Captain High Pants in her tweed blazer and her power bob.
And then at the end of the sequence, she does this whole thing where she pulls up her fly. And it's like,
Does upper fly.
I look
yeah.
like she's farting. Let's.
Okay, but let's look where she starts with this fly. Okay, what the fuck? How big is this fly?
the fly's
Like,
big. That's why she has to have the belt.
Like,
that high.
I don't wear women's clothes. Okay, I don't know the intricacies, but I'm guessing the fly part isn't that large. Like,
It was in the 80s
It
because
was the
everything
80s.
was real high waisted and flat.
They didn't know yet, Jody. It was the
They didn't
80s.
They didn't know yet. It was the 80s. They didn't know about
Oh.
tiny zippers.
I was alive in the 80s, guys. I know. What
Yeah,
it
but
is.
you said you weren't wearing women's clothes.
I
Yeah,
wasn't.
Didn't
What do you
start
know?
that till the 90s, eh?
exactly.
Yeah, well, no, it's more about the 2000s, but that's fine. That's
Yeah,
a whole other
sure.
podcast.
Yeah. Once
All right,
women
well, then-
are around you.
Margot's assistant comes in to her office / house, I guess. It says, "Hello, good morning, Miss Madison." Margot, of course, now has well over 20 years in NASA. Seems to be running the show here, going through all the appointments and.
There's a Fox Mulder on the phone for you.
Yes.
Mhm.
I was promised Elena would be running the show by now, but that's clearly not happening.
Not by now, but she's, you've
I gotta wait. I gotta wait a few seasons.
You see here, this assistant's like, she's just like, walk and talk with me. Oh yeah, do my teeth look good? And this assistant needs a raise, I think, already.
I like this assistant. She's it makes sense that this assistant is like as impressive as Margot. Like Margot wouldn't settle for anything less.
No, exactly.
No,
As we
and
go by,
she's not the one doing Margot's laundry. I think we can
No.
agree on that.
Not a
Oh.
chance.
Hell no. There's no way that woman's touching it.
That's
Her
3
assistant has
people
an
down
assistant.
at least.
Oh yeah, that's way down the chain.
now here
That's
in
like an
Houston,
intern.
here in Houston, we then see that now there are the new photos up here in like the lobby of the Johnson Space Center. Of course, we have Ronald Reagan as the president. There's also this general who will come to know in the episode. He's like the Air Force general who's been stationed here. So now there used to only be 3 photos. Now there are 4 photos. So I guess there's a permanent military presence here. Margot herself, now the director of NASA, and Thomas Paine is back. Everybody.
Common sense.
Yeah, the Mr. Elvis Costello himself, as I guess with Reagan coming back in, he got Nixon's guy to be his NASA director, or
Yeah, he's the Republican liaison. They kicked out that hippie Wisner with the Democrats.
exactly got him out of there, with all his Ted Kennedy ideas about things. We then head into the mission control, which has got a bit of a renovation here. It's got a new coat of paint. We see all these mission patches up on the wall, on the sides. There's new consoles, new computers. How does everyone like the new design here for?
It looks like they can't even smoke in there.
That's what I
Where
was
are the
thinking. I'm like, where's the
ashtrays?
ashtrays? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure they are doing any of that
They
anymore.
definitely got some nicer setups going here. They've kept some of the basics, which is good, but they got some extra graphics going on now, and some.
They don't have
color
to. They don't have
themes.
to write it on the chalkboard anymore and label everything.
Yeah.
Moon.
They can do it all up here now. Yeah, so see some of those new shiny consoles with the blue buttons. Margot then goes into what's, I guess, now the military area adjacent to Mission Control, where this Air Force guy.
I did like the touch where her
Assistant,
helper
yeah.
assistant's the word I'm looking for. Her assistant has to stay back, and she doesn't even attempt to get in. She knows that that's where she has to be, and that's her post now.
Right.
So she literally just stays there until she comes back out again.
Yeah, Margot says, "Hey, I can get you a new printer, General Guy, since your dot matrix printer seems to suck." And he's like, "It must be nice to have a revenue stream."
This guy's from the fucking military. Okay, I do not buy the military. The military doesn't have the revenue stream for an Epson FX80 fucking printer from 1983. Fuck off.
Well,
So
they're
stupid.
also trying to tell us here is that NASA is more self-sufficient in terms of its funding as well. I don't know. I've watched this show all the way through season 4.
Unless
I'm still not
NASA's
getting this,
stealing the
but
funds now.
I don't know where the money comes from exactly, but they apparently have money now. So they
didn't
can
they
fund-
talk about patents and stuff like that? They're getting
I
money
guess-
through there.
Maybe that's what they're doing.
Oh.
And so anyway, Margot is bringing tickets to the Air Force Army football game, I guess, to this general so that he'll scratch her back for some favors she wants with launches and missiles and whatever.
Again,
He's like,
this guy is a high-ranking official. You're telling me he can't get fucking tickets to that game? Come on.
doesn't have the connections Margot has. He tries to get the tickets back as he says no to whatever favor she wants, but she gives them to him as a gift anyway. So
Jody, he's only a 2-star general. He's got some room to grow.
yeah, it's true.
He's still a 2-star general. Do you know how many of those there are?
Yeah. Still pretty. Yeah, he's like he's
There's not that many.
Why does he get a picture in the building?
He's the head of the military there. Like he's like the military liaison.
He's
Jared
like
doesn't get a
Cisco
picture.
season 1, just a commander, but he's still the commander.
He's
of
in
the
charge,
space station.
kinda.
I can't wait till he shaves his head and grows the goatee. This show is going to get so good.
Not to mention
This
all the
show's really gonna
genocide.
take off,
The
yeah.
genocide, I think, is going to be the best part.
Did his wife die?
Commander, I said fire torpedoes. Yeah. Anyway, so we'll get. Does anyone know his name? That general? I don't.
Bradford.
Oh,
It's written
Bradley.
right on his shirt.
You're right. It is right on his
I
shirt.
checked because I couldn't remember it either.
Wow.
That's why they have those name tags. I think. Okay, so
That's
then we
right.
see Margot and the
Nartog's
assistant.
getting vicious today.
Yeah, Margot and the assistant then go off down this corridor, and then we transition to these two other astronauts who happen to be walking by them. They're two of the younger astronaut candidates or junior astronauts.
The one on the
who-
left, she's been in something because I recognize
She's in
her.
Bones.
Is she? Like, I think
That's what it was from.
I feel like I know her. Was she in Terminator Salvation, maybe, or something like that? Like,
I don't know because
Nobody
saw
watched that movie. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
So can we just stop for a second, Kevin?
Yeah.
I was really bored during this scene.
Yeah.
Did
Me
you
too.
share my? Yeah, they didn't need to get they're setting this up to get the Baldwin, but we could have just gone to Baldwin.
Yes.
Yeah, right. This young Air Force pilot, Piscotti, who wants his shot here. He says that Baldwin doesn't like
name's
redheads.
Piscotti,
He's got it out for the redheads, and and he tries to go in to talk to him. Who, of course, Ed Baldwin, now the chief of the astronaut office. I guess Buzz Aldrin has moved on, and now Ed has Deke's old job. Picking out who gets to be in the cruise, but Ed's working on his short game. He's on.
You're telling me NASA wouldn't have filtered out all the redheads?
I don't know. They
Come
don't have the
on.
computer technology yet. And anyway,
Some
so he's
fishy
here to talk to Ed. We see, like, just if you look at Ed's board up here and how many different assignments and how many astronauts he's managing compared to what Deke was managing, it's quite a bit more. as they have way more assets to man, you know. But and Edge just like, can you see
Glad
him
they
on the?
put STS and not shuttle or something like that. That's way better.
Yeah, Edge just says, "Hey, don't you see I'm on the 18th hole of Pebble Beach here, everybody? You know, I got."
Can you
If you
go back one,
you can see the
Dave?
picture
I
of her
love,
holding the
yeah.
ice.
I was just going to say that. I love that touch. Go back one, Dave. That he's got a framed photo of Molly holding the ice, the candid
Holding the
shot
ice.
that he took.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you took that photo, right?
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
that's
was
very
fun.
cool.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
In his office, nice little attention to detail with the things.
He's got a model there too of the of Jamestown space, the original one.
Of Jamestown.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he tries to brush this guy off. He's like, "I'll let you know when you're ready," but then this guy's not taking no for an answer. He blocks Ed's putt with his boot. Ed's not having any of that. You know, you're not gonna just interfere with his game here.
I think this is the scene that made me the most mad in the entire episode.
Why is that?
Because as
Why?
a golfer, you can't do that. That's
Oh.
bad.
Yeah. Well, Ed's just like, when I think you're ready, I'll let you know. You know, and everyone knows I don't like redheads, so get the hell out of here. And you know, throws him out. He just goes back to his putting game.
He's like,
And
did I cover all the rumors about me yet?
after that guy leaves, he just kind of like chuckles to himself for that he's just messing with him. He's enjoying this a little too much, you know. It's a little sadistic. But, you know, Ed's find new purpose in life as he's returned here to Earth. And he's got that putt down, guys. So
He's got a pretty good putt. You know, that's got to be a good 9-10 foot putt.
and he's a lefty, everybody. He putts left. Like Kevin.
All the great ones. Too.
Left-handed golfers are the worst.
Well, I gotta wonder if Joel Kinnaman
Kevin.
was playing hockey growing up, and if he shot left, and that's why he also putts left.
Maybe.
But, yeah, could be. Okay, then we catch up with Gordo, who's the special guest speaker at the Rotary Club of Little Rock, Arkansas tonight. As he's talking about,
I like how he's got a chubbier face now because he's been drinking so much.
yeah, he's always you see here he's got this bad '80s mustache, a bad.
I love it.
The actor clearly has gained weight for the role here as he's getting into the role, and they're asking him questions about what was like at Jamestown, what's it like going to the moon, and it's someone that asks him about
How did you save that poor girl who broke her arm?
right.
This
referring
whole
to
scene
Danielle.
was so sad, and I thought that the gentleman who plays Gordo acted it so well. He just looks so like quietly defeated, and they've got him, in this awful mustache and very sad comb over and cheap suit, and even like his posture, the way that he's standing, the way that he trails off. I thought this scene was excellent. Very sad.
Very good, yeah. And we know from last season that like Gordo would love to tell the truth, about what happened there, and not. But Danielle pretty much said, "There's no way in hell you're ever doing that because that would sink my career."
Well, we know that he basically didn't, because if he did do it during the timeline that we don't know of yet, because it's in between the two seasons, like then he would have, he would have screwed up the program for the women. So. There's tons of women on the moon right now, so we know that that's we're okay.
Yeah, no. So he's like he has to kind of just when he's uncomfortable with this praise he's getting from this person asking him this, but he just goes, well, and he kind of
and it's gotta butcher you too after a while, right? Like
right. So
just
he
hearing
just goes,
it over and over again.
Yeah, he just goes back to his drink, and it's very sad. And I'm totally with you, Heather. This was a great performance here, and
I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just say about Gordo that in season 1, you kind of expect him to be this guy that is like kind of like pro man, very chauvinistic, very like, he's cheating on his wife. He's still, he's a boy's boy. He's driving, Corvette. He's an ass. But at the same time, like, just in this first episode, you see like a changed person, and it's not. And I think like Heather's right that he's defeated, but he's also like that's not the whole story. Like, I think there's like, he's changed a lot. I think like at the end of season 1, you see when he goes to therapy, and like, there's a lot of like growth in Gordo. He's a very multi-textured character, and I can't say that about
he's
every
split
character.
up now, right?
Yes, but I
He's
can't say that
divorced
about
now.
every character on this show. And I think the actor that plays him really like took this role on and like made something of it. You know, so
So,
I
guys,
was very impressed.
Is he still working for NASA, or why
I
is he
don't.
here?
Doubt
He,
it.
well, he did it. I think this is all the money he can get now is just being hired for small gigs at like in Rotary clubs and whatever honorarium they were paying
So
for this.
is this a one-time episode for him? Are we done with him now?
No.
Well, you'll have to watch and find out, Adam.
I think it's interesting though. Like at the end of last season, he was like on this sort of self-improvement kick, and it doesn't seem to have turned out that well.
That's
No.
why I don't
Seems
diet.
to have slid the other way.
Same
Yeah,
reason.
well, we'll find out also that the Tracy's left him.
Yeah.
He's not. They're not. They're not married anymore. Not that's a huge shocker, but
No,
But
that is.
this is he's a bit of a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers, if you will. And
Oh,
we'll see. We'll
God,
see what's up with
that's
Gordo.
thing.
If Adam had his way, that would be the end of Gordo's story. Right here, there. He's at the Little Rock Rotary Club. That's the last we ever heard of Gordo.
Adam thought that entire scene was boring. So
I
did
thought it was
Kevin.
really good. Anyway, Ed's leaving. Then we go back to NASA. Ed's leaving the astronaut office. Thomas Paine comes in to see him, but you can't interrupt spaghetti night with Ed Baldwin. So you walk and talk here. Let's go on, head on there out as they want to talk more about military assets, putting guns on the ship, I think is part of this conversation. The fact that NASA has more to do here with the Pentagon in these days and age, because of course the Cold War and the space race very much going on the moon and elsewhere. So a bit of that discussion here. As they get to the parking lot.
I love this. They basically grabbed a Ford Probe and only showed part of the car to make it look futuristic. I
Yeah,
love
so
that. That's
Thomas
amazing.
Paine has an electric vehicle. I guess in this timeline they're doing EVs way sooner. Look at this portable charging station, everybody. It's only like the size of a small refrigerator.
Very portable on a dolly.
Yeah, I like how his little fob has got a little antenna that sticks
Well,
out
a remote.
and everything else. But I also like that this Thomas Paine, we've established is a Republican, and is very much would you think be against maybe electric vehicles and things like that. He's fully embracing it, saying this is the future. Whereas Ed not so much. Ed likes his gas powered car, the fact that it can go more than 65 miles per hour, and everything else, and I don't know, those kinds of things. So Thomas Paine left to continue with his wrapping up the cord around the spool here as Ed pulls
Like
away.
anybody does that. Have you ever tried to get air like put in your tires at a gas station? No one wraps that fucking cord back up.
Well, Thomas Paine is responsible. He's
Maybe in this timeline they do.
maybe
Oh, maybe this is the better timeline. I don't
this is
know.
the better timeline. Lenin's alive, the Pope's dead.
Lenon's alive in the Pope's dead. That's your standard.
You can always make a new Pope. All right, then we go to the Outpost. Outpost has changed here. It's now an Outpost restaurant and lounge.
It looks almost like a Ponderosa on the outside.
Yeah, it's got a
Anybody
bit of
remember
a. It's
Ponderosa?
got a bit. It's been turned into a bit of a museum here, a NASA museum where people can come take pictures. We'll find Ed and Karen have bought this place in the years between. We'll go past Kelly here. We'll find out Kelly is the new adopted daughter of Ed and Karen, as she's working as a waitress here.
Did they adopt her when she was like 13?
I think, yeah, she was kind of grown. I think she came from Vietnam, right?
Oh, I thought she might have been Ed's actual daughter.
From Korea. No.
Yes.
No, she's
Oh,
adopted.
that'd be amazing.
Yeah, no.
Oh, that's a missed opportunity right there, Kevin.
Yeah.
You're
We
right.
get Karen's first introduction in the episode as she's doing the books in the back of the restaurant, says hi to Ed. She's paying off the second mortgage a year early, and things are going great here. And, they're very impressed. And I guess they have this tradition on, was it Thursday nights? They get together for spaghetti night. Kelly, Karen, and Ed, the new Baldwin family. They have this whole discussion about the Parmesan cheese.
Not even
Oh.
on the plate.
It's not even on the plate.
Yeah.
So awful. Like, where's the sauce for fuck's sake?
It's only about the breadsticks for Ed. That's what he's here for.
What's all the green shit on top of it too? Is that like parsley or something?
It's like parsley, yeah.
Just to hide the sauce.
It's a hide the
Well,
hide the
when-
lack of
when-
sauce.
You know what? When your nice little, parsley little, thing is there, and it's literally you can't see the sauce behind it. You know you don't have a lot of sauce on that. It's bad.
It's not good.
They're talking to
Oh.
Kelly too about where she's going to go to college. I guess Karen pushing for her alma mater, which is William and Mary University. Whereas I think Ed's pushing a few other ideas here, and they're kind of
Ellie's got the sauce. Look at that.
Kelly likes
This
the
is
sauce.
the happiest we've seen Karen, I think, though.
Yeah. I think like you'll see a whole new Karen this season compared to the season 1 Karen. She's way more confident and way more assertive and got her own, like Jeff said, like the outpost is kind of her thing, especially in this season. We'll see how that all plays out.
Well, she had to do something because she was a homemaker and her son died, and her new daughter is 40 years old and can fend
Right.
for herself. So
That's exactly right.
she had to have a job.
Yeah, Kelly's supposed to be younger here, but Kelly clearly not. I think meant to be a young 18-year-old or 19-year-old or something, but no, clearly not.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't keep Pam on.
I guess they didn't keep Pam. Now this shot, I just wanted to ask you guys: isn't this green lit up tower like from Dallas's skyline, not Houston's?
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know. That just
And I think it's because of the Dallas Stars, and so I think that is
that's and then
Maybe it's the Houston Stars in this timeline.
maybe the North Stars moved early to Houston.
That building wasn't even built then.
Yeah. It was interesting that it was there in the skyline at all. Okay, then more to come. Okay, so Johnny Carson, everybody, back here in the outpost. Ed and Karen are watching from the bar. They have a little thing here. Anytime the astronauts are on the TV, they have a little sign that lights up next to it, and they put it here because their good old friend Tracy Stevens now on Johnny Carson. What's she wearing? Not much. According to Karen and Ed, but
I got some bad news for them when they hit like the 2000s, man. You think that's not much?
Well, we're getting there. They're up here. Yeah, they talk even. We can get a color TV, Ed. They exist now. He's like, not in my world. I like black and white TVs. Anyway, so then we see Tracy has an engagement ring as she's talking to Johnny Carson. Ed and Karen just look at each other as she announces she is getting married to somebody else. Look at that rock, everybody. But who is watching at home in color? Gordo and one of their sons. This is not Danny. Who's the other son? Billy.
Dan.
No
Yeah.
idea.
He looks like he sits around playing video
Miles
games
or
and does
something like
fuck all
that.
around the house. So
I think he's in the episode. Tracy Stevens.
Jimmy.
Call him Kid
Jimmy.
Stevens,
Jimmy.
Devon.
Don't ever forget about Jimmy. He's a good kid, that Jimmy.
I did many times.
He
Mhm.
is not a good kid.
Yeah, Jimmy says, "Oh yeah, your mom called and left a message on the machine yesterday, but I didn't know what it was about." And and then Gordo's like, "How do you feel about your mom getting remarried?" Well, I guess it makes her happy, says Jimmy. But Jimmy's got some demons here.
Seems to me that
You can tell because he's wearing a Misfits shirt, so
Yeah,
he's bad. He's
that's
bad
red.
boy.
Red flag number 1.
If you listen to the Misfits, you're
seems
automatic.
to me that they're setting up Tracy as having abandoned all of them.
Well,
You will see.
Tracy took off. Yeah, Tracy's
It's
living
strange Astro wife, Tracy Stevens.
Yeah, Tracy's turned into a celebrity now, clearly more so than a lot of the other astronauts. And then Ed calls up Gordo to console him, say, I didn't know about this. Phil, how you doing, man? Sorry, you had to find out this way, kind of thing.
Do you want to get blind drunk?
Blind drunk?
And Gordo's like, I already am, buddy.
On my way there. Just
Hey, that's a true friend.
yeah. So yeah. Anyway, Gordo. Just more in his depressive state here, back at home as he's watching his ex-wife with Johnny Carson talk about her new love. That would be a rough one for any guy.
Gordo's like, maybe I shouldn't have cheated on her so many times.
Maybe not.
Maybe.
You know, he changes the channel then, and then we get. Is this from some kind of war situation somewhere?
I think it's in Guatemala.
Guatemala, yeah. Then Karen's still smoking weed. Everybody.
Yep.
So-
Like I said,
Wait,
she's
good
never
job,
seemed
Karen.
happier.
Unbelievable.
Wayne
I
got her
can't believe
hooked.
she does such a thing.
Yeah, Wayne was her dealer here. She's looking up at the moon, and yeah, she does seem happy. She does seem content in this particular stage of her life here. So good for Karen. She's she got the.
That's what you took out of it? She's content?
I think so.
I
You know,
got
She's
more like,
stoned.
yeah, I got more like
Stoned.
she's stoned.
I'm
and
content
she's
when
like,
I'm stoned.
Well,
Right.
there you go, I guess.
I think she's more like, I'm fucking lost in life. I'm fucking smoking weed at the back of a restaurant, looking at the moon.
A
Like that's
restaurant
kind of what I
is
got
home.
out of it.
Arguing with
Yeah,
my
but it's
husband
her
about
restaurant.
fucking
She
using a
owns
spoon
it.
on it.
Yeah,
She's
she's-
She's
smoking
not in
weed
the
like a
back alley
dog.
of someone else's restaurant.
Yeah.
True. Yeah,
True.
she's moving up, and she is definitely moving up in the world.
We then transition back to the moon, or I guess back to space. This is what that shot I was talking about earlier, where we go, we're in the space, and then we kind of zoom in here on the space lab, kind of Battlestar Galactica style.
That's a very cool
Uh,
shot. Yeah.
As we see the Skylab, U.S. Space Station. Again, so we meet this other astronaut up here, an Irish astronaut, Campbell, I believe is her name. As she's talking down to NASA Control about, we're gonna need to look through the telescope. This guy's name, Ed.
Bill.
Bill.
Ned-
Bill is
Nedry?
talking to her about poker and all this kind of stuff, and get into a high stakes poker game, so he can take her paycheck. He's getting a little more personable, Bill.
Hey, can we zoom in on that patch for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Enhance. There we go. Yeah, so look at all those countries that are in there.
All those
Mexico's in
European
there?
countries.
Including us. But I looked up the real ESA patch, and our flag is on there as well.
Really?
and-
Oh,
yeah.
good.
So we I think we're
Or maybe
kind
it's
of.
like
Can we just join the European Union now?
Well, I feel like in terms of in real life, Canada seems to have one foot in with NASA and one foot in with the Europeans, and
We help everyone.
we help everyone, but we don't really have much of our own thing, I guess. Is
We need to team up with the Australians and the New Zealanders. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, make a Commonwealth Space Agency.
Yeah.
Perhaps. So she's looking through here, and then there's a little bit of activity coming off the sun. It's looking a little more explosive than normal. Big, coming really fast. Mission Control starts reacting to this and say, well, nothing could be moving that fast, but nothing we've seen before is what Bill corrects her, is saying. It turns out there's a huge solar flare / storm coming, and it's moving at 30% the speed of light, which is still pretty fast. So they need to get in there and warn all the astronauts. It's on Earth, the magnetic field protects us, but on the moon or in a spaceship or a space station, you would not be protected at all. Molly's still climbing this mountain, which I guess we've caught up to where we started off in the beginning of the episode. All the astronauts, looking at the sunrise, singing "Don't Worry,"
Singing Bob Marley.
Bob Marley. But and then we get the solar flare event. Coronal mass ejection of 105 MCV, going really fast, 89 million meters per second, everybody. So that's
fast.
They better warn all the astronauts. They're explaining how serious of this would be. This is where Bill smells Margot's chili dinner that she was having with Thomas Paine. Is that chili? What are you saying?
Oh, you talk about my chili.
Probably shouldn't tell your boss that her breath stinks.
Yeah. He also left us. He's the one who left the sauerkraut on her desk. Remember? All that back in the day.
He's the one who peed himself.
He's also that guy. Yep. He's got quite the journey, Bill, and he'll have more of a journey.
He's got a lot of range.
Yeah, he does. Anyway, they need to get up there. I think, is this where? Yeah, they're just saying, because Bill, Ed's like, our astronauts can handle it. She's like, not like this, they can't. Not these levels of radiation. Serious here. I think this is where Margot starts explaining that the radiation exposure, how much you could handle. The astronauts all start trying to get back really quickly to get shelter. But that Dutch astronaut that's paired up here with Molly, he's
Wubbo.
what's his name?
Wabo.
Wabo.
He's out for a stroll. What's the problem?
Yeah. Like if they can they're too far away from the base to get back, but if they can get like into a cave, as long as there's like 3 meters of that regolith moon dust rock between them, they could be shielded there. So where Molly is in that cave is good enough, I guess. But Wabo here, he's way too far away. And so I don't know, it feels like Molly takes 10 years to come down from the top of this mountain. Like it goes so slow. As they're all looking at their radiation meters. We then get this conversation here between Reagan and Thomas Paine on the phone. Talk about whether or not this solar flare is going to delay our Jamestown expansions. This is a kind of an unprecedented storm. And then there's also a lot of like paranoia. Oh, well, the Soviets going to use this to go after them because they're as affected by the solar storm as well. Everyone's going to have to hunker down for this. Please let the astronauts know they'll be in our prayers, says Reagan.
Cool.
And I also
Prayers definitely shield people from solar radiation. Thanks, Reagan.
Yeah.
He was supposed to say thoughts and prayers. That works better.
That did work, yeah.
And I like that they did add here that this touch, because we obviously see Thomas Paine being photographed talking to Reagan, and then like we actually see this guy actually taking the picture of Thomas Paine.
Oh, that's just neat.
We'll go into the file, right? Anyway, so then this general guy, Bradford, he calls Margot into his little military base here, and he's talking about how the satellites of the NORAD system, the early missile defense warning, are going to be affected, and what if the Soviets chose to strike right now? And Margot's like, why would they choose to strike right now? Like, this is a terrible time. He's like, we better hope so. But this is like the paranoia of the Cold War and the mutually assured destruction. And if one side could get an edge here, so Bradford argues or orders, let's go to DEFCON 3, which Margot's like, that seems a little extreme, but okay. He's like, let's hope so. Let's hope we don't have to launch nuclear missiles and get out of here. Back at the base, they're all starting to bunker down, get whatever they can, and Ellen's closing up the doors, worried about all the like Molly and Wabo here, because once Molly gets down to the foot of the mountain here, she gets into the cave. We see that this solar storm is about 3 seconds from Earth, and it's only 27 seconds away from the moon. As all of the satellite communications knocked out across the world, anything outside of Earth is affected. Molly gets out this like telephoto camera and is able to. She's looking for Wabo, and she finally finds him here in the distance. As the rover, I guess he was riding, has been knocked over or somehow. He must have hit a speed bump or something and crashed, and Wabo is unconscious on the ground here in his spacesuit. So Molly's seen that all happen here. They're all flying out, and Ed is worried about his astronauts down here on the ground. They lose a couple more satellites, the general tells us here, so they're just kind of waiting for this storm to play itself out. And I think this is where Thomas Paine says, well, what about the radiation? Like, how bad is it? It's not good. Like you get an X-ray, that's like a small dose of this, like, but 1,000, is it millicams? Is that the measurement they use it in? Could
Something
kill
like
you.
that.
So like, and we see that this solar storm is actually
I love this.
shaking
that was a
the moon
really
dust.
cool effect.
Yeah, like so, because they always talk about how, anything indented in the moon, like sand, would normally be there for centuries. But if this is to be believed as scientifically accurate, like it would be erase a lot of that stuff, like wind would, And so Molly says, "Okay, Wabo's out there. I got to do something for him." We see all the communications within the base are disrupted, all the technology back here at NASA, and yeah, it's just where she's talking about the radiation. And so Molly makes a decision to take off of her little radiation meter, which is you're green, you're clean, you're red, you're dead. And she decides to take off her thing and put it here inside the cave. And and then go after Wabo on a little sprint. So she's right in the heart of this storm here. She runs fast.
Can I just say, watching this,
Mhm.
I felt like it was the wrong decision. I know.
Yeah, if I was up there, that guy's dead.
that guy's
He's not answering me. I'm assuming he's already dead. I'm not risking my life for a corpse.
But this
There's
is
no
but this is Molly's character. Molly is the one that needs to be the hero, and she's also the one that wants to be the hero and can be the hero. So
Right.
that's why she's doing
And she
it,
was the
but-
one. Remember last season?
I'm with you, Kevin. I would be like, fucking guy, that sucks, man. Good luck.
But
You
she
know,
was,
like, I'm in the cave.
like
drive.
last season, she was left for dead in space, and they came back and they saved her, which is, but that one was different. They actually had a chance to save her.
Right.
This one, yeah, she could save him, but she's risking, like,
She's basically killing herself in the process.
basically killing herself, and even saving him is not, you're just
Can he be saved? Really?
Yeah, you don't. First of all, you don't know if he's even alive. Second of all, even if you do save him, it's gonna be bad. Like, it's almost a worse death. So it's
Yeah, because they talk about like that. Even if the radiation doesn't kill you, you'll probably develop cancer later on in life.
Yeah.
And other ailments, probably. And and Molly, she's in the heat of this solar storm. Both of them are just getting bombarded with radiation in this whole process. She straps him to her back, really struggling. Because even with 1/6 gravity, it's not easy to drag a man across that distance. And she can't run now.
Her
right?
running to him though, that looked badass. Like jumping over those rocks and shit. That was awesome.
Mhm.
that was the best
Right.
part of the episode. It looked like the way it's shot is really
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah, it looked cool here. But like, I would say that she's like, I'd say 2 kilometers, maybe a mile or something like that is the distance here. And so like, she can't go back as fast as she got there either. Right. So she has to kind of plug, and she knows what this is doing. She knows the risk of the radiation and what she's doing here.
But that's what makes her the hero.
Yeah, she's the hero. She's pulling him back here across the thing while the storm is going on all around her.
And you're seeing all the shakes and stuff.
Yeah, and you can't help but think about it.
I feel like Molly, she's already on borrowed time. She already won one thing where she should have died, back.
I think that is the motivator. Like, they came back and saved me back then, so now I have to like pay it forward here. I have to return the favor, or I have to, it's like, I don't know. I'm trying. To
I
get
do
inside
think
the policy of it.
I agree. It's exactly what it is. It's about the fact that she should have died, and so she's like, well, I can't leave him when I have the chance to save him. That's what it is.
I think her character is being written that way all along, even from when they were in training.
Yeah, because you remember that episode where Tracy went out of her way to help Ellen, right? And with the broken ankle, and how impressed Molly was with Tracy after that she did that for Ellen. So I think that at her heart, at her core, Molly's just like a no one left behind kind of a person,
Yeah.
She has.
But-
Is she gonna tell?
when-
Is she gonna tell people she did this, or did she leave her thing so she wouldn't have to?
She wouldn't have to.
She definitely left her thing so she wouldn't have to.
Right.
But I'd also like to note that when she went up to Margot in the finale of last season to speak to her, and Margot said, "Listen, I'm really sorry," and Molly said, "I would have made the same decision to not save you for the good of the mission," So
Yeah.
she wants to be the hero in this case, and we did see that they set it up earlier that her and Wabo have become friends and are close from their little like interaction kind of thing, So,
Right.
but I definitely think she intends to hide it and not tell because she left her radiation
But
monitor in
listen,
the cave. That was 100%.
So they were talking about though. Margot was talking about how if it, with intense radiation doses, you're done in 1 to 2 hours. Seems like they were pretty much in that range. I don't know, but
Well, him longer than her, but yeah. And we see his band has turned red, so he has received a fatal dose on some level here of the radiation. Her, it's hard to say how much she's taken because she took off her meter, but it was not zero at all. So she's going to definitely be affected here as she goes back and gets her band to put back on, so they won't know, at least not right away, what she's done. And that is the end of the episode.
They'll know when she grows a third eye and flippers from all the radiation she ended up
When
with.
she's glowing green at night, yes. Well, okay, so that's the episode and plot. Adam, give us some entertainment here. Give us some non-boring facts, please.
Okay, so Margot was talking about in season 1 when she was pleading her case to become director or flight director. She said that she'd been with NASA since 1966. However, did you guys see the plaque in her room or her office?
20 years.
She's a 20-year veteran. So basically, somebody went back or forward or whatever. But she's basically got that plaque about 3 years too early.
Maybe it was part of her deal with Wisner there. Yeah, 3 years.
She got 3 years of seniority just given to her. It's great.
Yeah, that's a good deal for her.
Yeah. Apparently, in the opening sequence where the sun rises on the moon, it happened way too fast. In real life, from the time the sun peaks over the horizon to the point it was fully visible would take over an hour.
So more than a Three Little Birds song.
More than a Three Little Birds song. The whole
They
album.
should have done Stairway to Heaven.
Should have done Stairway.
We don't know how many times they sang it.
That's true.
True.
So with that, a day on the moon is about 14 days, Earth days long. Sunrise would be far slower than shown.
Oh.
And that's why I guess they got to that whole opening scene was the fact they hadn't seen the sun in 2 weeks. So, a day is 2 weeks long, so a night is 2 weeks long.
A day is 2 weeks long. Okay.
Pardon?
A day is 2 weeks long?
Remember they said they had Ellen was talking about the fact that she hadn't seen the sun in 2 weeks. Or somebody was talking.
14 days is the rotation, yeah.
Right. So 14 days is the rotation. So a day is 14 days long, Earth days. So a night is 14 days long. Okay. An astronaut suit weighs about 150 kilograms, but on the moon it would only weigh about 25 kilograms. So Molly dragging Wubbo to safety, it looks like she was really straining under his weight, but it really wouldn't be that way. The solar storm was said to be moving at 30% of the speed of light, in which case it would reach the moon in less than a second after reaching Earth, rather than several minutes as depicted.
Yeah, that makes sense because I was like that when you said it was 89 million meters a second. I'm like that's fast. That's not minutes. That's seconds.
That's for sure. And then finally, Ellen was talking to her husband. I can't remember his name now.
Mary.
There's actually a 2.5 second delay in Earth to Moon communications, and that did not look like it existed at all.
No, it's another one of them fooling us with their movie.
But they have full good video conferencing in the beginning of the 70s or no, sorry, this is 83, right? So 83 they would have full, slightly less than HD video comms. That doesn't make any sense either. So they wouldn't have the bandwidth for it. So even if they could do it, it would still be terrible.
And it was just a great little call out here, in the beginning when they're thinking about everything's going to be all right. You just know everything is not going to be all right. As we ended. So, Dave, will pass it back to you for ratings.
All right. Thank you, Adam. Okay, let's get into our
Those were
ratings.
fun and factual.
Those were fun and factual. Very good. Not boring at all.
This
All
hasn't
right.
been a challenge for fun facts like this.
The show is hard for that, yeah. Because now we're in the point where everything's different now. So
everything's different, but it's usually it wouldn't happen like that. That wouldn't be like that.
Yeah, everything's just this is wrong.
Those tethers would rip. You could easily carry a Dutch man on your back on the moon at a solar storm. It'd be easy. So we're gonna get into it here. Okay, our ratings for season 2, episode 1. Every little thing. Let's get into it. Jody.
Can you just scroll up and tell me what I did for the first episode of this season? Or
Yeah,
the last
9.
season? I gave it a 9. Okay, so I would give this about an 8.
Okay. An 8 from Jody. Adam.
8 as well.
8. Okay.
Didn't start as strong as last season for me.
Oh, no, no. Yeah.
I liked
First
it.
episode of this series is way better.
I'll go 8 as well. Kevin?
6.5.
Ooh.
This was
Oh, he
boring.
really didn't like it.
Mhm.
All right, Heather.
I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
7.5 from Heather. Okay,
Mhm.
and Jeff.
Giving it a 9.
Okay.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wowie zowie. That's the upset of the night right there.
All right. Well, we are averaging a 7.8 out of 10. Kind of low for us on this show. We're typically a little more positive. All right. Well, that concludes our review of this episode. If we want to just look ahead to episode 2, it's called The Bleeding Edge. And
There's Gordo.
It's Gordo talking to Ed.
Gordo's definitely got some extra weight on him now.
Yeah. And look.
He does. And I love that the way they chose to age Ed Baldwin up 10 years is part his hair on the side and put him in the most boring beige clothes in the world. This is a handsome man. Look at him. He looks like a fucking accountant. I'm out. Oh, I want manic, skinny Ed and Gordo back. I want toxic spacemen, please.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. All right. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, yeah, he looks so just like old, but not older than he should, But then a lot of people
beige.
very beige. That
the
jacket.
Nard dog is very bitey today.
He's supposed to be born in 1931, so he's 42.
His biggest problem right now is the spaghetti. Okay, so let's.
That's true. And the fact that he's got to use a spoon. That's.
And the fact that he likes Parmesan cheese rather than fresh grated is a problem.
I missed that. He was using a spoon?
He was
I
using.
think we got to take this down to a 5 now.
No, but he wanted the shaker.
He wanted the
He
shaker.
wanted the shaker.
No, it was his daughter. His daughter. What did she know about Italian food?
Well, maybe more than him. I don't
Well,
know.
that's fair.
He could be from Italy.
Yeah, I don't think Ed's from Italy.
Texas, they don't know anything.
Yeah. All right,
Barbecue is what they know.
That's what he knows. And he likes gas powered cars. He's American. Anyway, so we will also be back this Thursday for another review of Star Trek: The Next Generation. We are going to be talking about the Emissary, also known as the Alexander origin story.
The best episode with Alexander in it.
Well, it's more of a cameo, really. A little twinkle in the eye.
Who's on that one?
I think it's Heather, Justin, and I, and who's the other
Hoping
one?
I'm on it. It's a good episode.
That's a
Who
really
we got?
good episode.
Who we got on? It's and Murphy is the other one.
God damn it.
So
All right, well, put me down for a fill-in if any of those guys fail.
Davin's already said he's gonna drop in. Also coming up this week, guys. I guess it's Sunday. We're doing this. We're doing a Star Trek trivia. A Trouble with Trivia is hosted by our quiz admiral Ashley Millard. This time we're doing a behind the scenes theme with we got a couple. It's gonna be Davin and I and newcomer Sean Farrick to represent the operations divisions as we get into the real life details of the different Star Trek worlds and the actors and things like that.
Oh, I bet with a quiz one he'll be fine.
I sent this thumbnail to Davin. He's like, "Is this the order of ranking we will be in? You'll win, and then Sean will be second, and I will be third place." I was like, "Well, maybe. Let's see."
We got to play the game.
As
to find
determined
out.
by AI.
I'm gonna say right now that at least one of those is accurate.
Yeah, we'll see. It's we're gonna see how it all plays out. Ashley will have some strong contenders to challenge for the champion of Star Trek.
She comes up with some pretty good questions though.
She really does. I can't wait to
put
see
my
this
money on
episode.
her.
I'm like, oh, that's so annoying. That is so specific and annoying. I hate it.
Yeah.
But they're good
Well,
questions.
it's my kind of thing. All
What
right.
was
Well,
it?
the trouble with trivia is how I joined the Live Long and Podcast family. And before I watched an episode, I was invited to be on the Trouble with Trivia. And I was like, I'm going to kill all these bitches. This is going to be amazing. And then I watched the first episode and I was like, oh no, the quiz admiral. She really comes.
She does a
up with
really
the
good
quiz
job at getting the stuff that
She
wouldn't be
stumps me all the
mainstream
time.
questions.
I just get less stumped than others, and that's why I
What
win,
was
but it's
the
not
color of the sky on Tarsus for in the evening?
Yeah, and this episode
in the evening. It starts off pink in the morning, but it is green by the evening, everybody.
That's right.
So, yeah, I'm just making that up. I don't know if that's true.
So all hail the quiz admiral, and we will see you all next time.
Thanks, everyone. Live long and podcast. Have a good night. And peace out. Where's my friggin'
everything's
video?
gonna be
Be
all right.
all right.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.